registering to vote. And we kept on urging the people of our country that we want to run a clean campaign, which we did, and we are determined to ensure that democracy is the winner in this whole election. So in the end, it is the democratic process in our country that is going to emerge victorious. And the ANC will reap a dividend from that by emerging as the winning party.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Colin.
Well, Zina, that was President Cyril Ramaphosa just flanked with his wife. Just apologies for that. You would understand that a lot of members of the media are actually in attendance here today. So the interest is, quite huge. Of course, the President just answering a number of questions. Excuse me, gentlemen, sir, we are on air, Excuse me, sir, we are on air. The President just basically also relating his experience of voting here at the Shawela voting station at the Hitekani Primary School, saying that everything went seamless and really lauding and praising the IEC for a job well done. Also, they somewhat echoing the sentiment of the IEC and saying that there are those who are trying to actually undermine, the democratic processes of the IEC. Also alluding to those arrests that we actually spoke about earlier on today. Those two arrests, one in Lukwatini in Mpumalanga, where two people were arrested for following a presiding officer and tampering with the ballot. And of course, the other incident there in KZN, where they went to the house of a presiding officer, also mentioning there the issue that happened on Saturday, the alleged breaking into a warehouse of the IEC. Of course, that issue is under investigation. He also touched on Sunday's issue, where he actually addressed the nation ahead of the elections. And we now know that the Democratic Alliance and the MK party are actually taking him to the electoral court. And the president just basically saying that that matter is in the court, so he wouldn't want to actually speak on it. He also spoke about the ANC's campaign, saying that the ANC has actually run a formidable campaign leading up to the elections. You would remember that in 2019, the ANC party, or the governing party, I beg your pardon, had actually achieved 57.50%. And their hope as the ANC is that they are actually in it to win it post the elections. But of course, encouraging the nation, especially young people, to go out in their number to vote. Remember, we have 27.6 million South Africans who are on the voters' roll. So the clarion call also from the IEC is that people...
Natasha Piri there live to us from Shawela in Soweto, where the President Cyril Ramaphosa just cast his vote. Thank you very much, Natasha. I am still joined in studio by our analyst, Dr. Thapelo Delapedi. You would have heard there the President. We also saw the IFP President, Velenkosi Mihlabisa, cast his vote as well. Just your thoughts, and maybe we pick up on the final point, the final question that he was asked about the nature of that address to the nation on Monday evening. He says there were two components to it. It was to assure the country that we are good to go in terms of the elections today, but then also to reflect on the work of the 6th administration, whose work has now come to an end. And of course, we know that the DA is challenging this as well and unhappy about the nature of that address. Your thoughts and also just your reflections on his comments just after he cast his vote today.
Look, I mean, maybe let me start with the broader one around his comments. And as well with the IFP president talking about it. I think it's interesting to see that perhaps there are prevailing heads on this matter, that the legislation of the IEC will prevail in terms of what did you say on the day of the voting. And that the marching line should be that voters must come out, especially young people, that big sort of bulk of the voters, that they must come out and vote. And I think that's quite good. It's good to see that also he's commending the work of the IEC and those observers who've come to assist the country, especially those from Africa. So that's quite good. And I really liked what the IFP president said. Similarly, really just echoing the president on this matter. Finally, on your issue specifically on the presidential address that was done in sort of this two-way, I mean, it's difficult. I understand the sort of urge to want to talk about the readiness of the country for the elections.
Yeah.
That's fine, but I think the other issue of talking about the administration of under him in the ANC was a tactical blunder. I think given the heightened sense of these elections, especially because the competition is rife, especially because there's a lot of discussions around the ANC potentially losing its majority, it was not a tactical game for them to pursue.
Does it signify desperation? Do you think that they recognize that because these elections are so hotly contested, particularly if you look at what's happening in KwaZulu-Natal, Gauteng as well, it's not guaranteed for them as well in terms of them being comfortable with the numbers. So do you think that he was almost desperate and had to, in fact, take the opportunity of addressing the country as the head of state to then perhaps remind those who have forgotten what this administration may have achieved? In his view?
Look, I think it goes without saying that on the part of the ANC, they are quite worried about the outcome of these elections. You've seen, and I think this is a bit of a funny matter, where the party agents or just those who are representing the ANC go out into different houses, washing the dishes, washing clothes, helping with this. I mean, it's been quite funny, but I think it does indicate that the ANC is worried about the outcome of the election, and that perhaps his presidential address was part and parcel of that, desperate to make sure that they rein in on this. I mean, you saw just recently, President also spoke on the issue of the energy, that they are not going to have load shedding past the elections. So clearly they're worried about that outcome. And I think it's fair to say that it's 30 years of people reflecting on what this country has become.
We are seeing visuals there of one Hlaudi Motsoeneng, who's about to cast his vote there. There he is. I think they're checking his name on the voters roll, and he'll also have an opportunity to cast his vote. Live image is there. He is the leader of the African Content Movement. And they had, of course, their own challenges as well, not being able to contest across all of the ballots as well. This is a special broadcast live on SABC News Channel 404. I am, of course, working with Ayanda Nyathi this morning. He is on the floor of the Results Operations Center. Let me also thank my guest, Dr. Thapelo Tselapedi, here in studio. Ayanda, who do you have with you on the floor?
In fact, we're going to stay with Hlaudi Motsoeneng, who's just casted his ballot. Aphumelele Ndlalane is part of our team who is watching the situation closely. Hopefully we'll be able to get a word from him to get a sense of how he feels after casting his ballot. Aphumelele, if you can hear me, put us in the room. What's it like there as Hlaudi Motsoeneng casts his ballot?
Yes, Ayanda, we are at Mary Primary School here in QwaQwa in the Eastern Free State. As you can see on the visuals, the African Content Movement leader Hlaudi Motsoeneng about to cast his vote. Like you have mentioned, we will have to get the sense of course, how he's feeling, and we must remember that this is where he hails from, and he's a new kid on the block, where we've seen him going on the ground, talking to the residents of the Eastern Free State, especially in QwaQwa, trying to gain their confidence. We can see now that he's given his 3 ballot papers. We must remember that this time around we have the 3 ballot papers for region, the province, as well as the national. We can see now he, of course, being instructed what to do with the ballot papers, and must also indicate this is one of the busiest stations here in QwaQwa, as we saw a number of people making their way in, and the mood on the ground, people saying that they've been voting since 1994 and saying they are still hopeful with of course the change that they wanted to see taking place. We see now Hlaudi Motsoeneng is busy with his ballot papers, and again, I can indicate that this is one of the stations that is running smoothly. We also see elderly people being instructed what to do. Let me just try to talk to Mama here. Mama, you just voted. You could Mama?
Sharp. Sharp.
O thabile o re votile ka jeno?
ya monate ba
Mama o batla o bona ho etsahala mo South Africa hle.
bo ngwana ka sena ke shapo hampe
Eya mama.
ke motle
Ditaba tsa ditshebeletso, ditaba tsa bana ho etsahala.
ke wetse tsa ka fela
O thabile mama ka jeno.
ke thabile hampe
O tsubile ka nako mang?
ke tile o seng hampe
Eya mama.
ba re di-taxi di a tla ka dinyoloha ka maoto
Eya mama. Mme wa qala ho vota jwale today?
ke mokakalla wa kgale ntse ke bouteng
Hala wena o vote.
nna ke fete ngwanaka.
Thank you, Mama. Now we just talked to one of the elderly people, of course, sharing her excitement, saying that she has voted since 1994 and there was no chance she would miss this opportunity. Ayanda, on our visuals, you can see we are still with the leader of ACM, Ndate Hlaudi Motsoeneng. We'll try to get a sense of course, his experience, given that he's one of those that are also contesting these hotly contested elections. We can see him moving to the 3 ballot boxes, which is the region, province, as well as national. Just waiting to hear on him, Ayanda, as he's about to finish with his voting process here in Miri Primary School in Qwaqwa in the Eastern Free State. We'll try just to talk to him outside here. Thank you so much, Ndate Hlaudi Motsoeneng. We just witnessed you casting your vote. How do you feel?
I feel very happy because this school is where I come from. This is my hometown. I come from this area. I'm very happy. I can see people are very excited here in this area, but the future is in the hands of our people. As people who are leading political parties, I don't have any say. I don't have anything to say now, because people of South Africa, they must just decide their future. But I know they will decide for my party.
There's a lot that has been happening in South Africa, from corruption, service delivery. What is your say to the people of South Africa out there?
Amongst all these issues, my concern is unemployment. Unemployment is the enemy number 1. If I'm elected, I need to deal with unemployment, because I need more people to depend on themselves and few people to depend on grants. When you look here in the Free State, people are still using bucket system. It can't be right. After 30 years, we need to change the situation. I'm appealing to people of South Africa to say to them, this is the time. Vote for change, vote ACM, because I don't see anyone in South Africa, really, who can change South Africa. The only person that I know is myself, no one else. And I have track record of changing the lives of people. I believe here in Maluti Aphofu, in the Free State, we are ready to govern this province. People are going to be shocked. I can see some are relaxed, but I'm more than relaxed, because I know the hands, these hands that you see, the future is in our hands. But I can say lastly, I want to appeal to our own people here in South Africa. When they vote, they must just think twice whether they vote for suffering or they vote for someone who's going to contribute to build the future of South Africa, to build a prosperous South Africa. And I believe that I'm the right person to lead South Africa currently. No one is born now as we are speaking. Thank you very much.
Well, Ayanda, I won't say much from what he said, but you can hear Hlaudi Motsoeneng saying that he's from Qwaqwa in the Eastern Free State, and says people should choose wisely and vote for the change that they want. It's back to you.
All right. Aphumelele Mdlalane, thanks very much indeed. Hopefully it's a message that is loud and clear to anybody who might still be undecided about whether or not they even want to vote. You're live on the SABC News channel. 3 hours, 40 minutes of voting currently taking place. And of course, the SABC is watching all the developments for you throughout the country as we, of course, track millions of South Africans who have come out in their numbers, dare I say, even at this very early stage of voting, to make sure that their voice is heard. We spent much of the past couple of months listening to political parties, and all of that noise now has to make way for what is mostly silence at the voting booth as you and many others make their mark. Now, part of the democratic process is ensuring that everybody gets an opportunity to make their mark, including those in our correctional services. Tumelo Machoko is part of our team in Barberton at a correctional center there. He joins us now live. And Tumelo, of course, it's a very different picture where you're at. Take us through what you're seeing.
Well, indeed, it is a different picture where I am. You know, this voting station just opened just minutes ago. They were actually late. They were supposed to start actually at 9 o'clock, but they only started just a few minutes ago. But also, we understand that this prison where I am, Barberton Correctional Services, Medium B, has about 1,025 inmates, but only about 185 of those inmates actually registered to vote. And some of them are actually starting to cast their votes here. So I'm just going to ask Azwi to actually just start showing you the guys behind. We're not allowed to see their pictures, their faces, and also to speak to any of them. But these are some of the inmates that are actually here to cast their votes. They've been, that gentleman actually there that is just finished voting. That's the first gentleman that actually just finished his casting his vote here. The second gentleman is also going there to cast his vote. But these are some of the people that are coming in actually to cast their votes here at this correctional services. We understand that about 185 of them will cast their vote at this prison, but also at the prison next door, which is maximum C. There will also be more people there actually casting their votes. But also, this is a democratic right. Some of them telling us that they came here to ensure that they exercise their democratic right. At this prison, it has prisoners or inmates rather that are serving between a prison term of a year to 10 years to 10 years, but also some of them here already coming in to cast their vote to actually exercise their democratic right. It is a lot of people actually excited. Actually, you can just see from their faces they are beaming with pride actually to come actually to cast their votes here, then to cast their vote here at this correctional services. But we understand that some correctional services, most of the correctional services, they will allow inmates to actually cast their votes because they also have to exercise their democratic right, Ayanda. But this is what we have been seeing here at this correctional services. They've been lining up since the early hours of this morning, since just after 8 o'clock. So they're waiting for the IEC officials that came in quite late, but also excited to come and cast their votes. In Mpumalanga, we understand that about over 2 million people are actually registered to vote, and also the special votes, about 145,000 people registered to vote in those special votes. But also a lot of people will be casting their votes today. We've been crisscrossing this province and also going through, especially here in Mbombela municipality, in Mbombela city, and also coming here into Mbombela, into Barberton, seeing a lot of people going out in their numbers actually to go and cast their votes since the early hours of this morning. Ayanda?
Right, Tumelo Machoko, thanks very much indeed. Tumelo is live to us there from Barberton in Mpumalanga to get us a sense of how things are unfolding, of course, throughout the course of the day, especially not only in, I suppose, where there's much more freedom, but also in our correctional services center, because people there are certainly part of this democracy. Our special coverage of elections 2024 continues in a moment. Do stay with us.
in this industry,
Thank you very much for staying with us right here, live from the Results Operations Center. This is SABC News Channel 404. To this now, the IEC believes that there is a clear orchestrated campaign to undermine the outcome of the 2024 general elections. Chief Electoral Officer Sly Mamabolo said this is one of the biggest challenges the electoral body currently faces. Mamabolo pointed to videos on social media on the weekend showing ballot boxes under the control of an unauthorized person, presumably evidence of vote rigging. The IEC countered the voting rigging insinuations, explaining that the videos show the Commission's planned logistical arrangements and storage of election materials in preparation for special voting on Monday.
There's a clear orchestration to undermine the credibility of the outcome. The videos that you saw over the weekend are not an accident, but it's a clear, orchestrated endeavor to say this election could not have been free and fair, even before they happen. So, as a commission, we want to be resolute to protect the integrity of this election, because the South African people have invested in their democracy, and they have entrusted that responsibility on our shoulders. So we've got to act in a manner that does not let ball drop. those really are the two strategic challenges confronting the IEC at the moment.
Our reporters across the country following various political leaders. Al-Jamaa leader Khalif Hendricks is at the Pinelands High School in the Western Cape to cast his vote. Our reporter Vanessa Puna is there. Vanessa, a very good morning to you. Understand the Al-Jamaa leader is about to vote. Tell us which other party leaders have already done so where you are.
Yes, good day to you, and you're quite correct. Khalif Hendricks, the leader of Al-Jamaa, is actually in the queue here at the Pinelands High School. He's about to cast his ballot. We spoke off camera just now, and he was describing this as an exciting day. Let me bring him in now for his view on the process so far, and also what the expectations are of not just the party, but I suppose South Africans as they go to the polls in this all-important election. Mr. Hendricks, a very warm good morning to you. You say today is an exciting day. Explain to us why you say that.
It's exciting because of the whole question of coalitions and the uncertainty of who's going to govern South Africa, and also how new parties are going to perform. Also, there is an exciting day because there are many new voters and there are many new young voters, and that's why South Africa will use this as a litmus test to decide whether our democracy has matured.
So we of course see that there are fairly long queues at a number of voting stations. I mean, the ones we've visited this morning. This is, in your opinion, a good sign for democracy at work?
Yes, it is a good sign because previously I could just walk to the voting station booth, and now I've got to stand in a long queue. And I have over 200 voting stations to visit as I'm leader of the party. So it's a good sign for democracy that people are coming out to vote. And they need to make South Africa proud and give us a government that's going to bring out the transformation that has eluded us for the last 30 years.
You've made mention of young people, and I see quite a number of young people in this queue. This is something to be celebrated. You said to me earlier on, it's a celebration to have so many young South Africans coming out and participating in the democracy, in making their voices heard.
Yeah, look, young people, because of the NSFAS problems, they have now realized the only way to bring about changes, and they've got lots of issues and a lot of problems with implementation, is for them to cast a vote power. So Al-Jamaa has on its top 10 candidate list a NSFAS student, third-year student, who is in the top 10 of our national party list, and we hope that to send her to Parliament to serve on the Higher Education Portfolio Committee, and at that forum where the laws are made, bring about the changes instead of striking, burning hostels and